Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, my father-in-law is trying to exclude me from my own pregnancy. I'm sure she loves you, only in her own way. EM and the octopus. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My father-in-law is trying to exclude me from my own pregnancy. After being engaged for the last 2 months, I found out that I was pregnant. Because it was unexpected and a very personal thing for me, I decided not to tell anyone but my fiancé until the second trimester. We have now told family and close friends, who have shown nothing but support and excitement for everyone's first grandbaby. I still do not plan on announcing my baby to the world or on social media anytime soon, personal preference. However, last night we told my fiancé's father, and to say him and I don't have the best relationship would be an understatement. For example, whenever my fiancé isn't around, he'll make statements such as "you have birthing hips" and other commentary about my looks, or mention my fiancé's ex. To top it off, when we got engaged, he didn't congratulate us once and instead bragged to his friends and family about how my fiancé just got a new job and graduated from college. Last night we told him I was pregnant and he made the entire subject about himself and my fiancé, saying, "Finally a boy to continue our bloodline, I can't wait to watch him at sports practices, we don't know the gender yet." And the entire time, my FIL talked about how my fiancé is going to be such a great father, not a single congratulations to me. And when his girlfriend mentioned buying baby clothes, he would cut her off and say, "Yeah, with what money? My money?" But what really irritated me was the fact he got mad at me for waiting so long to tell him and wanted to know why he couldn't tell everyone about it and share it on Facebook yet, even texting me about it after I left. The entire time we were there, he referred to the baby as my fiancé's and told us our lives were over and that we'll resent the kid. But at the same time, my FIL wants to watch the child for weeks at a time. He believes he is entitled to be in the room when the baby is born if he wishes to, when I told my Phil I only wanted my fiancé in there. He told me that it wasn't my decision and I needed to include everyone in this experience. Let's just say my fiancé and I have had a long talk since then, and for my sanity, my father-in-law will not be seeing me or the child for a very long time. FIL actually thinks it's not your decision who is in the room when you give birth, it's his decision. And his decision is that you include everyone who wants to be there. FIL basically treated you like an incubator for his grandchild. Glad you're limiting contact. When OP and her fiancé get closer to their due date, they should have a written birth plan that includes specifying exactly who is and is not to be allowed in the delivery room. Make sure this is shared with the hospital. And before anyone asks, my fiancé and I have addressed his behavior before and nothing has changed. He sounds like the kind of guy who makes his brand of toxic masculinity his entire personality. It's good that your partner doesn't share it and is taking steps to shield you and your baby from it. This is absolutely a hill to die on. My ex-FIL was like that, as was his idiot son. I did so well to get out of that marriage. Warn the hospital personnel that he is not allowed near you and he is not allowed near your child no matter what BS he tries to pull. Make sure to give them a picture if you have one. I did that and it didn't work. Didn't let the staff tell anyone that I was there. Somehow my MIL still busted up in the room mid-push. Someone on Reddit had the idea to lie to their family about where they were having the baby. I wish I thought of that. He is just delusional if he thinks he is going to have any say in this baby. Definitely time to go NC now and after the baby is here. I wouldn't even inform him of the gender of the baby until the baby's born. He needs to be put in his place, and that would be so job. Something intensely creepy about a FIL demanding his right to be present at the birth. Just what does he think he'll do there except gawp at you while you're at your most vulnerable? Just yuck. Take control and absolutely put that creep in his place. First of all, congrats. Second, you, and you alone, control who is in the delivery room when you give birth. No need to argue with him. Just tell the hospital when the time comes, and let them deal with him. Beyond that, the misogyny is strong with that one. Put him on an information diet, assuming that you talk to him at all. This is the type of man who thinks he knows more about women's reproductive health than women. I imagine him voting against women having a say in their own bodies and saying men should be consulted if a woman wants/needs tubal ligation or hysterectomy because it's his decision. I'd run far away from Phil and his outrageous attitude and behavior. You don't want this man around your child. Especially with that kind of toxic masculinity he uses from every word he spews. I laughed at you need to share the experience. Good lord, the balls on this man. Tell him you'll be happy to share it if he also will lie naked spread eagle while residents and med students take turns giving him a prostate exam while you and your family and friends watch. Hope your fiancé starts shining up his spine. With a grandpa like that, I'm really sorry for your kid, and I really hope is not a girl. Some grandpas get wrapped around baby girls' fingers. Congratulations OP, stay strong. Time to get cameras and other security in place for when Phil attempts to show up uninvited. I'm sure she loves you, only in her own way. We call this excuse to be the BS that it is? I'm the product of a one-night stand. Obviously, I'm not the golden child. My worth is based on what service I provide to my mother, starting with being parentified at age 9. When I finally got my fill of lies and manipulation, I decided, upon careful consideration, to permanently break ties. EM is content to give me years of silent treatment, but never expected me to walk away. Her? Perhaps. But never me. Of course, the flying monkeys and well-meaning friends begged me to reconsider. When I pointed out that literally no one mentioned her loving me, the answer would always be the same: I'm sure she loves you in her own way. Okay. WTF? What I hear, whenever I am told this, is that even outsiders don't recognize any expression of affection. But to these people, a mother has to love their child, so maybe they just can't recognize it. Again. This is BS. Love and affection is easy to recognize. If someone has to use this pitiful excuse, it's obvious that they are trying to insert a healthy relationship where there is none. The fault lies with their inability to not see that a mother can feel indifference toward their child. Thoughts? The fact that you know you are the result of a one-night stand tells me all I need to know. Actually, it's a bit more complicated. I didn't find out until I was age 50, after I took a DNA test. It was then why I discovered why our relationship was so prickly. My maternal family are all extreme racists, and guess who's mixed race? Growing up was twisted as she desperately tried to hide my paternal race, Afro-Latino. Sometimes hiding my existence until she felt confident of herself being accepted by people, only then would I be introduced. I can say though, once I learned the truth, it all made sense. I agree with you 100%. Sometimes, one is not cut out to be a parent, or at least not at that point in time. Maybe due to circumstances, but that is never the child's fault, nor should it be blamed for its existence. Your mom sounds like my mom. And I so recognize what you're saying. It sucks, and it leaves scars, without a doubt. Stay strong though. A husband who regularly beats his wife loves her in his own way, too. So what? Does that make him not be an abusive prick? No. I'm sure she loves you in her own way. You are mistaken. End of conversation. Anything further is just gaslighting you. Your feelings aren't real, your anger is unwarranted, what you saw wasn't happening, what you felt wasn't valid, gaslighting. Do not participate. It isn't healthy. Sounds like my narcmum. But my dad's reasoning was she only wants what's best for you. No dude, she didn't. My sister is the golden child, and like you, I was parentified early on. Ask the flying monkeys, so because she loves me and is my mother, she's allowed to carry on abusing me? That should shut them up. Took me 27 years to finally decide enough was enough from my lying, narcissistic, gaslighter of a mother and abusive stepfather. My wife fully supported my decision and did her very best to support me in my choice. I'm 53 now and still bear the scars, but I've learnt the valuable lesson of treat my kids and grandkids with respect and how I wished I was treated. She died in 2016 and my stepfather shortly after. I'm still non-contact with my siblings. As a side note, my now deceased Mill, who treated me more of a son than they ever did, tried to mend fences for the sake of my daughter. My mother spent 3 minutes talking to my daughter who she hadn't seen for 8 years and talked to my Mill for an hour about herself. Capping it off with, "I don't know what I've done to me to deserve this. I sincerely regret nothing and my life has been cleaner, happier and more productive than it ever would have still entangled in their swamp." Stay strong. You cutting her out of your life will give you peace. Ask them to explain what her way of love is, because you never felt it. No one can tell you how to feel and you don't need to explain yourself. Look up narcissist, that mom fits quite a few of the traits. I normally agree with heavy sarcasm until they stop. "Oh yeah, totally, you know how you love someone so much you just insert abuse here?" If they keep going, I tell them I've had enough stalkers to know the difference between love and obsession, and it's respect. I completely hear you and understand. I've been no contact with my mother for maybe 15 years now. Though really, the few times someone has tried to convince me that I'm wrong, I just bring up a few of the reasons why, and everyone has understood. No one ever brings up reconciliation again. I actually don't think she does love me because honestly I don't think she can. She likes my sister, but they are peas in a pod. It's so complicated though. I now have a 10-year-old daughter who obviously has never met her. I've always been honest with my daughter about her. I have a policy that I will never lie to my child, ever. It is totally a reaction to my mother. Obviously I keep it age appropriate. But over the years I've shared more information with her when she is asked. So she knows that my mom isn't a kind person and wasn't a loving or caring mother. Recently my daughter has expressed an interest in meeting my mother. I'm so torn about this. My mother is incredibly charismatic and I know she'd put on a show for her only grandchild. I want to respect my child's wishes, but I'm just worried about opening Pandora's box. Thank goodness for therapists, eh? My father would do the commitment sandwich. Say something nice, say something mean, then say he loves me. I know he was lying when he said he loved me. If you love me, then don't be so mean. EM and the octopus. This happened a week ago. I'm still pissed, but part of me hopes I can laugh about it soon. For context, my son is 15 months old and loves stuffed animals. His favorite is a soft, light pink octopus we call Otto, the closest thing to the word octopus he's been able to say so far. We got it for him at a bookstore while on vacation in Europe last July. He spotted Otto at the store himself and immediately reached for it. To this day, my son is obsessed with Otto. He takes it almost everywhere, gets upset if we try to take it from him, and loves playing with its tentacles before going to sleep. We're extra protective of Otto due to the fact that it was made by a company from the country we bought it in. I'm pretty sure it can be found online, but we've never seen it in any local stores. Anyway, I had to run some errands at the mall last Friday. My fiancé was busy and our eldest was at a friend's house, so I took the baby with me, Otto and all. When I was done, I still had some time left before needing to leave, so I took my son to the toy store. I spent a few minutes showing my son some toys before we went to see the stuffed animals. I took him off the stroller and he instantly waddled to the nearest shelf. He handed me Otto to pick up another plush, so I put it in the stroller's storage basket. We played with the stuffed animals for about 5 minutes before he started getting tired. I put him back in the stroller and reached under the seat, only to realize Otto was missing. My son noticed it as soon as my hand was in his view again. He started crying loudly, so I picked him up. I wasn't looking forward to ordering another octopus online, so I started going over the shelf again, hoping to find it among the stuffed animals. An employee who'd heard my son crying came up to me to ask if I needed help. I explained the situation and described Otto, and she said that there was a lady at the checkout counter trying to buy a pink octopus. I went to the counter, still holding my son. A woman in her mid-30s, EM, was there with her daughter, about 5 years old. I vaguely remembered seeing them when I entered the store. She was arguing with the cashier about something she was trying to buy. I got closer, and sure enough, the cashier was holding Otto, trying to explain to EM that it wasn't one of their products. It didn't have a tag on and couldn't be identified by the store, so they couldn't sell it to her. EM was telling her she was lying, as her daughter had picked it up from the soft toys section herself. I didn't think EM was trying to steal Otto. I figured, the kid's 5, she probably just picked it up by mistake. I'm a father myself, so I try not to expect the worst from other parents. I quickly approached the cashier and politely said, "Hi, excuse me, I think there's been a mistake. That's my son's toy, he brought it to the store with him." EM did not like that. She told the cashier, "No, he's lying. It's pink, it's a girl's toy. My daughter picked it up, I'm buying it." This went on for about 2 minutes. The cashier seemed eager to just give me Otto, but EM wasn't having it. She was calling me a liar and a thief, telling the cashier I had no proof the octopus was mine, her daughter wanted it and she'd seen it first. I eventually gave up on trying to be the bigger person. I pulled out my phone and showed them both pictures of my son with Otto that dated a few months back. I'm still not sure why I didn't do that sooner, but I do like to watch the world burn sometimes. Somehow, EM still didn't believe me, or at least claimed not to, so I told the cashier to look for a zigzaggy seam, don't know what it's actually called, on the base of one of its tentacles. About 4 months ago, my eldest accidentally ripped Otto while playing with the baby. My fiancée stitched it back together, but she's not a great seamstress, her words, not mine, so the part she fixed is a little noticeable. And because Otto was in the cashier's hands when I got there was no way I'd know that unless the toy was my son's. The cashier found the seam and finally gave me Otto. EM's daughter was crying, and she tried to argue a little more, but it didn't work. I thanked the cashier, gave the octopus back to my still sniffling child, and quickly left the store. I wish this was the end. Not 2 minutes later, as I was putting my son back in the stroller, I felt someone pulling at my shirt. I turned around and there was EM's 5-year-old daughter. She was still sobbing. Her mom was standing about 4 feet away from us. The little girl started, "Mister, I want that plushie. My mommy said you have to give it to me." I know better than to talk to a stranger's child, so I took a deep breath, looked over at EM and said, "Ma'am, please stop. I'm not giving it away. Not to you, not to anyone." The kid yelled for her mother. EM was fuming at this point. She walked in my direction and snapped at me, "What kind of monster are you? How dare you talk to my daughter like that? Me, this is my son's favorite toy. Your daughter might have picked it up by mistake, but that doesn't make you entitled to it. EM, that's a girl's toy. Your son is a boy, he probably hates it. So get back in the store, get him a boy's toy, and give my daughter that octopus." After about a minute of her calling me a bad father and me mostly ignoring her, EM tried to shove her hand into the stroller to grab the toy from my son's hands. I acted quickly and stuck my arm out, blocking her. I then said to her, "If you so much as look at my son again, I'm calling security." EM looked like I'd slapped her, but I think she got the message. She huffed, grabbed her daughter by the arm, and walked away. I practically ran to the parking lot, if not for the stroller slowing me down. I told my fiancée what happened when I got home and she got pissed, but we did manage to make a few jokes about EM's behavior. My son got Otto back unharmed, and will thankfully not remember this. I sincerely hope EM's daughter got some other stuffed animal, and I'd be extra glad if it was an expensive one. Sorry about the length. If your son doesn't mind, maybe you can stitch his name on the octopus. That will ensure that you can dispute shady mother. That's a good idea. I used to be worried my son would notice something like that, but I don't think it'll be a problem. Or sew an ID tag on. Like one of those you'd use for a dog's collar. You can usually get them made at pet stores. A cute little tag with Otto on it would be perfect. If you haven't already, you should get a backup Otto. We have a backup for my son's favorite Lovey L, and it's been really helpful. My son was like yours, saw L in the store and tried to jump out of his grandpa's arms to get L off the shelf. We're talking about this. My fiancée has a cousin who lives in the country where we bought it, and she'd promised she'd look for one. She visits once a year, so we might get Otto 2.0 sooner than expected. Yes, each of my 3 kids found a favorite stuffed animal, and I bought backups afterwards. Saved major tantrums later. I'm guessing a jelly cat? I'm so glad your little guy has his wee buddy back. Good job saving Otto. Since Otto is so important to your son, maybe there's a way to get a backup Otto just in case of disaster. Maybe another Redditor would know how to find one. Along with the suggestions of getting a replacement Otto. Is there any way of putting something like an AirTag/tracker inside Otto? Daughter needs to learn she can't have everything she wants. Is at fault for that. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.